You're making a huge mistake when shopping for your dog's food. Or at least, you certainly could be. Want to bet? Let's find out. The first mistake: getting food from the grocery store. Here I am, shopping for the recipes that I want to make this week, and I realize my dog is about to run out of food. No worries, I can just stroll on over to the dog food aisle and grab a bag there. I mean, how convenient. A ton of dog owners do this, my grandparents being two of them. They say, he's been eating this food his whole life, it's fine. There's no reason to stop at a completely different store. Fine, I get it. It's an easy way to kill two birds with one stone. But have you ever wondered why these foods are conveniently found at grocery stores anyway? Oftentimes, grocery stores stock low-quality, cheap dog foods because it's what the store is willing to buy. And if dog owners don't like their selection, so be it. Well, they're a grocery store after all, not a pet store. Okay, so what? What's so bad about these foods? To make it brief, there are many filler ingredients in pet food that aren't appropriate for your dog's body. Considering the canine's teeth, jaw structure, and digestive system, it's pretty obvious that they were designed to consume raw animal flesh and bones. They're also part of the order Carnivora. So let's take a look at the ingredients in these low-quality brands. And just to note, the ingredients at the top of the list are the ones that make up the most of the food. Ground whole grain corn. Oh, this one has chicken byproduct meal as the first ingredient, but the second ingredient is corn. What animals should eat corn? Cats and dogs are nowhere to be found. Now, corn isn't something that'll cause ill effects right away, but it's certainly not something that should be the first ingredient, or even the 10th ingredient of a carnivore's diet. Same goes for foods like rice, soy, legumes, added coloring, flavor enhancers, and chemical preservatives. On top of this, low-quality dog foods may advertise that their recipe is meat-based, but depending on their wording, it might just be a way to trick the owner. Let's say the front of the bag says with chicken. Using with means that the chicken doesn't have to be more than 3% of the total recipe. So instead of getting a low-tier grocery store food, stop at the pet store, or better yet, a smaller, local, more natural pet store that sells food with more species-appropriate ingredients. The second mistake: buying a food just because it's a popular brand. Okay, fine, I'll go to the pet store, but I have no idea what I'm looking for. All I know are these few brands that I've maybe heard of before. These must be good if they're so popular, right? Purina, Iams, Beneful, I'm sure you've heard of these brands. I mean, they're everywhere, but just because you see them in every pet and grocery store doesn't necessarily mean they're a good quality food. When I was little, my parents bought our pets Iams because it was a very popular brand at the time. And because of this, they assumed that the popular brands were the best. Years later, after becoming more conscious over the foods that I was feeding my ferret at the time, I realized how untrue that actually was. I mean, look at these ingredients. And in fact, it seemed like the bigger the brand, the poorer the ingredients. Don't get caught up over the brand, get caught up over the ingredients. Now, this third mistake may surprise you, but it's something I have to talk about, and that's getting veterinary recommended food. Okay, well, maybe I should just resort to veterinary recommended brands then. These surely have to be the best of the best. I mean, they're certainly expensive. Brands like Royal Canin and Science Diet are two staple brands that vets carry and suggest. Not only do these brands sell prescription food, but they also sell regular food at the pet store as well. Now, these foods may seem like high-end brands because of their price tag and the fact that they're recommended by vets, but unfortunately, they're far from that. I've worked in the veterinary field for about 4 years, and I've learned a lot about these diets. One being the poor ingredients. Okay, well, chicken is the first ingredient, but wait, look at the next 5. They're all starchy grains and plant-based ingredients. In fact, the only other animal-based ingredient is egg, and they couldn't even add real chicken liver, it's just liver flavor. As you can see, these foods aren't any more special than a typical bag of low-quality food. They just have a veterinary recommended label slapped on it. Okay, why do vets recommend it then? Well, Well, it's not so much the ingredients, but more so because vets formulate the therapeutic diet lines. Regardless, the only difference with these foods is the fact that they add or remove synthetic minerals, which are artificially created nutrients. And this is how the food is supposed to help certain health issues in pets. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, these brands are also the ones funding veterinary schools and urging future vets to recommend their food. The fourth mistake, looking at the price tag over the ingredients list. Fine, I'll look at the ingredients label, but all of these foods with better ingredients are way more expensive. I'm just gonna go with this random bag because it's in my price range. I get it, you don't want to spend that much on dog food, but if you buy cheap, low-quality foods with inappropriate ingredients just to save money, you may end up spending a lot more later in your dog's life once they start experiencing health issues. This can be as minor as skin issues or as major as diabetes, which can all be traced back to a low animal protein, high carbohydrate diet. A high-carb diet can promote inflammation and itchy skin, especially in animals that weren't designed to process these ingredients. It can also cause their blood glucose to spike. Now, maybe you have no idea what you're looking at when reading the ingredients label, but if you want your dog to thrive, it's best to pay attention to the ingredients list. The fifth mistake, feeding dry food in the first place. Ugh, all dog food seems bad at this point. It almost seems like I should just feed a homemade diet so I can control what goes into my dog's body. To be honest, it's true. As I've uncovered, dry foods, especially low-quality brands, really don't have much benefit to them. Of course, if you simply can't afford a high-quality food right now, there are many options available so you can at least improve your dog's meal. A balanced raw diet is what I'll always advocate for, whether that be pre-made or homemade. But if this isn't possible at the moment, either try looking for a high-quality commercial wet food or add whole foods to your dog's dry food a few times a week. This can be things like raw meaty bones, raw eggs, raw muscle meats, or plain kefir. If you want to take that next step for your dog's health, a great place to start is this video where I go over what pet foods I do recommend.